Welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight. I am your host, Stephanie Scheller. Every single week, at least that's what I try for, I bring in amazing business owners who have done cool stuff that deserve to have the chance to have the spotlight put on them that didn't really come out well. So I'm just going to turn it on over. We have an amazing guest with us today, Mr. Dan.Diaz. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, absolutely, Stephanie. It's a real pleasure. All pleasure is mine.
Awesome. So obviously we've chatted for a moment here, but we don't know each other super well. So I know a little bit about what you do, but our listeners have no idea. So why don't we start with what do you do and how did you get started?
I launch beanbags into space. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that.
Best answer ever.
All right. Well, the nutshell of what I do, Stephanie, is I'm a real estate investor. Now, that might sound like a really big title, but basically what I do is comprised of three things. One, I go ahead and buy the kind of dirty, disgusting, filthy, abandoned, vacant houses that nobody really wants or cares. You know, those meth labs in your neighborhood. Well, hopefully not your neighborhood, but
probably. I hope
not. So we buy those with cash. Now, you might wonder where we get the money from. Obviously, a bank is not going to lend on it. So this is the second opportunity that we have with people. What we do is we go ahead and take our loans from private individuals, doctors, dentists, people, ladies, whoever has money in the bank that's really not performing very well. We go ahead and borrow that money, purchase the home. You do get protected with a first lien position. So at the end of the day, either you're going to get your money with interest or you're going to get a deed on a really good deal. So I shouldn't use the word guaranteed because that's not really the word we should use. But it's pretty safe. It's pretty protected. At the end of the day, you're going to get something. Yeah, you're going to get something at the end of the day. Something of value. So then we go ahead and fix them up. And then we go ahead and owner finance them to the public. Now, this is probably the funnest part for me, and probably the most satisfying part, because we take credit challenged individuals or people who maybe really just can't qualify for a loan because they're self-employed or they don't have a U.S. Credit score, or maybe they've just made some maybe bad decisions or have been victims of a bad credit situation, a divorce, death in the family, medical situation, and they have a down payment but they can't purchase a home. We go ahead and do in-house underwriting, and we go ahead and owner finance the home for you. And we also provide kind of an exit strategy. So, for example, if it's just a credit situation, we'll actually pay for credit repair for the first year so that you're able to refi under a lower.
Oh, wow.
If you need us to hold a note for the entire 30 years, we'll do that. So whatever kind of suits your situation, we go ahead and take care of you in that regards. So in a nutshell, Steph, what I really like to refer to myself is I'm really a real estate problem solver. If you had a pretty house, sell it with an agent. If your money is making 50% a year, congratulations, stay where you're at. You don't need us.
Correct.
And if you need a home and you've got a good job and good credit, again, there's plenty of lenders who will take care of you. But we solve real estate problems. That's what we do.
How do you protect yourselves from getting screwed by these people with poor credit? Because sometimes they may say they have poor credit because they made a single bad decision, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes they really, there's actual bigger issues going on. So how do you guys protect yourselves?
Well, there's a couple things that we do. One of them is what I like to call common sense underwriting. So common sense underwriting, what that means is we do take a look at your credit score. And I do have the experience and the ability to be able to look at your credit report and say, okay, you've got bad credit because 2 years ago you went through a divorce, and I could tell that your, douchebag ex-husband wasn't paying for the bills, and therefore your credit got dinged.
Credit got screwed. Yeah.
Your credit got screwed. Or I can say, hey, listen, you were late on 6 out of your 9 accounts last month, and the month before, and the month before.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't know how to pay your bills.
I love how you put that. That was so freaking nice. I'd be like, you idiot. And you're like, well, maybe you just don't know how to pay your bills.
Maybe you just know how to pay your bills. So I'm not going to trust you to pay your bills. I'm going to take your money directly out of your account every month. No, I'm kidding. But yes, actually, that's what we do. We do set up for automatic payment, and we set it up for the 25th. And the reason we set it up on the 25th is I don't want to be competing with the other 6 people you're not likely to pay. I want to make sure there's money inside your account. Another way that
Ah,
we protect ourselves is we may require a larger down payment. Basically, a down payment in the 15 to 20% range. What that says is, listen, your credit kind of sucks. Your history is not so well. But if you have skin in the game, something happens in your mind that you're likely to maybe make this bill the one you pay. And it is a crapshoot, but at least, if you do default on it and if we do have to foreclose, there's going to be a little bit of money in the kitty for us to take care of that.
nice. That's awesome. So this seems pretty specific. How did you guys find this particular niche? Like, how did you end up in real estate? I have to ask because this has actually been the funnest stories I've ever heard. Is how did you end up in real estate?
Well, I was homeless once. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, whoa.
My background in real estate begins when I was general manager for a mobile home dealership. And when I was general manager for a mobile home dealership, I had the privilege, I'm going to call that, but opportunity perhaps, of really meeting one-on-one with the most challenged individuals when it came to housing. If we did not approve them and if they did not buy a mobile home from us, they probably would be under a bridge. So that being able to come in a one-on-one contact with those individuals really showed me that there are a ton of people out there who truthfully, genuinely need help when it comes to housing.
Yeah.
Now, I was introduced to real estate by a very wealthy gentleman who does exactly what I do, except on a much grander scale. He's been in business for about 30 years, and he probably holds maybe 3,000 to 4,000 notes within the city of San Antonio. And when I learned the three segments of the population that we were servicing, we were fixing up neighborhoods, buying vacant abandoned homes that nobody else would or could. When I learned that we were also taking care of our private lenders and giving them returns that is really hard for them to achieve elsewhere. And when I learned that we were also servicing so many individuals that otherwise wouldn't be able to qualify for a home, that blew me away. And a statistic that I love talking about is the fact that right now in Bexar County, I can't talk about Texas or the U.S., but in Bexar County, if every single person wanted to apply for a home, 80% of the people today would be rejected.
Wow.
Now, it's not rejected forever. It's not permanently rejected. But right now, less than 20% actually, if they wanted to go buy a home, actually could. So the question is, what do you do? They've got a job. They probably have money saved up. They probably have a down payment. Is there any way we can connect them? And that's where owner financing really, really comes into play. That's how we're able to connect the two.
Wow. I didn't realize that number was so high. That's
a lot.
That's a lot. Well, and it's not like Bexar County is even a poor county either.
No.
I don't think so. No, we're not. We're in pretty decent shape.
Well, not only are we in decent shape, but our housing prices are actually very affordable.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
It's not like Austin or anything. So to say
Or San Diego.
or San Diego, Bay Area. If every single person went to go make an application right now, 80% would be denied. And like I said, not denied forever or denied permanently, but couldn't. So that's where people like myself come into play, where we're saying, okay, you got a job, you got a down payment, you have an ability to pay. We do common sense underwriting. Obviously, if the mortgage is going to be $1,000 a month and you make $2,000, I'm not going to do the loan. It's not really setting you up for success.
Right.
If you can show to me that you make $3,000, $4,000 a month, and the monthly mortgage payment is going to be $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, that's reasonable.
Yeah, right. That's makes sense. That's cool. So where are you going from here then? What do you want? You said there's this guy who has 3,000 to 4,000 homes.
Yeah.
So where are you going? You heading the same direction, or are you heading for 5 to 6?
We're heading for 12,432 by July of 2018. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, like, geez, how did you get that number?
Well, yes, I definitely believe in the power of passive investment. Ultimately, my goal is to be able to live life in a way in which my income is not dependent upon my daily work. And there's a lot of different ways of doing it. For me, it's the passive income that comes with promissory notes, with deeds of trust, and with mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big passion. We would like to grow to the position in which we would like to be able to help 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 families. Remember the 80% of families that I told you a little while ago that couldn't? I would love to be in a position where I could say, hey, come to any one of our 10 offices in San Antonio and let's get you a home.
That would be freaking awesome. That would be cool. And then from there, I mean, there's so many other cities across the entire US that, you could make such an impact. I don't know if you think that big, but I mean, that what you're doing is awesome. Really, truly is. Has there ever been a moment when you have looked around and said, oh my gosh, this is really tough. Should I go get a day job?
I was going to say yes until you said, should I go get a day job? Yeah, what I do is very rewarding. And unfortunately, one of the most challenging things that I have to go through is I have solutions for people, solutions that can change their lives.
Right.
I can provide the framework for you to legally, realistically, and affordably purchase a roof under your head, and a roof over your head, and a home, and a place
Right.
to really call yours. And I get knuckleheads all the time that say, well, why can't you do 0% down? And I'm like, well, I'm not a used car dealership. I'll buy a $500 clunker. So that is one of the biggest challenges. It's dealing with people and dealing with lack of education, and dealing with lots. I've learned doing what I do that there unfortunately is a lot of lack of common sense. And it's
I don't think
sad.
it's just in what you do. I think there's a lack of common sense across the board.
Well, I get my fair share. Yeah. There's just a lot of lack of common sense. And I tell people, listen, I'm not doing this for charity. I'm obviously making money. I'm making a profit
Right.
that allows me to continue helping more people. But you got to put your fair share. You've got to, meet me halfway and maybe a little more than halfway. So
Right.
yes, there have been times where I'm like, you know what, maybe I just need to do something where people do decisions based upon numbers and not emotions. So for example, if I decided to go into commercial real estate, I'm dealing with people that deal with numbers. There's going to be no emotions on the table. Either the
Right.
numbers work or the numbers don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm dealing with people that it's their homes and it's emotions. And they're up, they're down, they're bipolar, they're, kind of all over the place. So we do what we can and we move forward. But no, I've never thought ever about going back to get a day job. And the reason is this: in a day job, there is no way that I could ever possibly impact the number of people that I could doing what I do. Is it easy? No. Is it challenging? Every single freaking day. But no, I would never think of going back. I just can't impact the number of people and the ways that I could at a 9 to 5. That and I'm not very smart, so I don't know who would hire me.
I think you and I are on the same page as far as I couldn't, I can't go back to work in it. There have been times when I'm like, with my skill set, I could probably get a day job paying, a beautiful 6-figure salary. That's livable. I could live on that. And then I'm like, oh my God, no, what am I thinking? I can't do that. But because the same thing, I can't make an impact. I can't help business owners the way I can now. So no freaking way. This will have to be our last question because I know we're already running a little long here, but what is your best piece of advice for other business owners out there who are sitting there saying, hey, I'm really wanting to build my business, but I just need some advice. Like, what's your best piece of advice for them?
A couple of things that I can think of is success leaves clues. And you've got to look in your whatever business you're doing, whatever niche market you have, and see who is successful and invite them out to lunch. Learn from them and see what works for them. The other thing that I strongly believe in is you must be a reader. Leaders are readers. And if you don't like to read, at least do audiobooks. But this is really my suggestion. A lot of people say, well, I'll read 30 minutes a day and maybe I can cover 50 books in a year. That's fine. But actually, I would suggest go look for the top 3, top 4, top 5 books and read them 10 times this year. Because if you do that, you're going to get so much more out of each and every time. And I'll give you a personal example. We were just camping, and I finished reading for the 3rd time Grant Cardone's 10X Rule.
I love that book.
I know, it's a great book. Well, I've read it 3 times, and of course I could have said, well, I've already read it 2 times. There's nothing new. And yes, maybe there's nothing new that he has to say, but I picked up at least 4 nuggets that I know are going to make me explode in 2018.
Yeah.
So pick 3, pick 5 books and just read them over and over and over and over again. And make sure at least one of them is the Bible. I'm a firm believer that the scriptures have tremendous positive, practical information. So that's what I got for you. Readers are leaders.
I love that. And I think, we could talk forever just on that, because my coach and I, last year I read 30 books. This year my goal is 50 books. But next year my goal is to read, because I want to find what are these books I want to read again and again and again. But next year my goal is to read, 5 books 5 times each at least. And then I can read 25 different books if I want to, but I want to go back, because I have my top books I read every year. 10X Rule is one of them, because it's one of those books that I don't care. The thing is, you change where you're at every single year. So you're going to pick up something new. And second of all, there's no way you could possibly implement everything the first time through. Like, if you read a book that you can implement everything all the way the first time through, then stop reading The Little Engine That Could and go read like adult books.
You'd be walking on water.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was awesome. I love that advice for people. I know I'm going to post some contact information down below, but thank you so much for taking time to jump on with me, Dan. I enjoyed myself with our interview. Your sarcasm, I like it.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm honored for the invitation, and let's just keep on conquering the world one person at a time.
One person at a time. Absolutely. Huh?
Here's a poke.
Poke. I love it. All right. So for our listeners out there, guys, come on. If that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will. Go make something happen today. You got this. You're awesome. It's time to start smashing some of those goals.